X-Men Days of Future Past is a 2014 superhero film directed and co-produced by Bryan Singer and written by Simon Kinberg from a story he created with Jane Goldman and Matthew Vaughn. The film is based on the Marvel Comics superhero team, the X-Men, the fifth mainline installment of the X-Men film series, a sequel to X-Men, The Last Stand, and X-Men, First Class. A follow-up to the Wolverine, and the seventh installment overall, stars an ensemble cast, including Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Halle Berry, Anna Paquin, Elliot Page, Peter Dinklage, Ian McKellen, and Patrick Stewart. The story, inspired by the 1981 Uncanny X-Men storyline Days of Future Past by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, focuses on two time periods, with Logan traveling back in time to 1973 to change history and prevent an event that results in unspeakable destruction for both humans and mutants. Vaughn had directed X-Men First Class and was set to return in Days of Future Past, but instead left for Kingsman, the Secret Service, and the 2015 version of Fantastic Four. Thus, Singer, who had directed the first two X-Men films, made his return as a director and brought along most of the crew from those productions. With a budget of $205 million, the film's principal photography began in Montreal, Quebec in April 2013 and concluded in August of the same year, with additional filming and pickups taking place in November 2013 and February 2014. 12 companies handled the visual effects. X-Men Days of Future Past premiered in New York City on May 10, 2014, and was theatrically released on May 23 by 20th Century Fox. The film received praise for its story, visual effects, action sequences, acting, and thematic elements. The film earned $746 million worldwide, making it the sixth highest grossing film of 2014, as well as the third highest grossing film in the series behind Deadpool 2 and Deadpool. The film received an Academy Award nomination for Best Visual Effects, making it the first X-Men film to be nominated for an Oscar. Two sequels, titled X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, were released in 2016 and 2019 respectively. In a dystopian 2023, Sentinel robots hunt and kill mutants, as well as humans who either possess the genetic potential to have mutant offspring or try to protect them. In Moscow, they attack X-Men, Survivors, Kitty Pryde, Colossus, Blink, Warpath, Bishop, Iceman, and Sunspot. The mutants sacrifice themselves to buy Kitty enough time to send Bishop's consciousness a few days into the past to warn the others of the coming attack and ensure their survival. Having averted the attack, the group retreats to a remote Chinese temple and is joined by Storm, Logan Charles Xavier, and Eric Lenscher. Xavier explains that the Sentinels were originally conceived by Believer Trask, a weapons designer whom Raven Darkholm assassinated in 1973. In response, the government captured Raven and experimented on her, using her DNA to create Sentinels capable of adapting to any mutant power. Xavier plans to go back in time to 1973 and prevent Trask assassination in the hopes of altering the future. However, upon learning that time traveling too far would kill Xavier, Logan volunteers instead, as his regenerative abilities would allow him to survive. Awakening in 1973, Logan goes to the X-Mansion, learning from Hank McCoy that the school has been closed for years due to the Vietnam War, and Lenscher has been imprisoned for assassinating JFK. A young, broken Xavier has turned to alcoholism and frequently uses a serum that allows him to walk, but at the cost of his telepathic abilities. Hoping to reunite with Raven, Xavier agrees to help Logan. They recruit Peter Maximoff, a mutant with superhuman speeds, and break Lenscher out of the Pentagon, learning that he was attempting to save JFK, who is also a mutant. Raven discovers Trask has been experimenting on mutants and plots to assassinate him at the Paris Peace Accords. But Xavier McCoy and Logan foil her attempt. Lenscher attempts to kill Raven, believing this will change the future, so McCoy fights him, allowing Raven to escape but publicly exposing them as mutants. Trask takes advantage of this and convinces President Nixon to authorize the Sentinel program. Lenscher retrieves his helmet and secretly takes control of Trask's Sentinel prototypes by infusing them with steel. Returning to the X-Mansion, Xavier abandons the serum and by reading Logan's mind, communicates with his future self, who inspires him to protect the future between mutants and humans. After Xavier uses his mutant tracking computer Cerebro to find Raven, he, McCoy, and Logan travel to Washington, D.C. to stop her from assassinating Trask. At a ceremony where Nixon unveils the Sentinels, the three search for Raven. Lensher appears, activates the Sentinels, and barricades the White House by lifting the RFK Stadium over it. During the battle, Lensher impales Logan with a rebar and throws him into the Potomac River. Nixon, Trask, and a disguised Raven retreat to the White House bunker. However, Lensher rips the bunker out of the building to kill everyone inside. In 2023, the X-Men make their last stand as an onslaught of Sentinels attacks the temple, with most of the mutants perishing while trying to buy more time. In 1973, Raven reveals herself and subdues Lensher with a plastic gun, saving Nixon and his cabinet. Before she can kill Trask, Xavier telepathically convinces her to spare him, leading the public to realize that a mutant saved the president. As a result, the Sentinel program is decommissioned, altering the timeline and erasing the dark future of 2023 from history. The mutants in the past depart separately. Trask is later arrested for selling military secrets to foreign governments. Logan reawakens in 2023 at the X-Mansion to find that Xavier's school is thriving and the X-Men are all alive, including Rogue, Jean Grey, and Scott Summers. Logan asks Xavier for information about modern history from 1973 to the present. Upon realizing that the Logan from the original timeline has returned, Xavier assents. Back in 1973, Logan is rescued by Raven, having disguised herself as Major William Stryker. In a post-credits scene set in ancient Egypt, a crowd chants to In-Saba-Nur, who telekinetically elevates rocks to build pyramids as his four horsemen observe from afar.